Hey, Pastor Scott here with the Weekly Word. Pastor Jordan's joining me today, and we're looking at a passage in Hebrews, looking kind of back at this past Easter weekend, but forward to just our lives in Jesus. And so we're calling it The Joy Ahead, and it's from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, "We must focus on Jesus, the source and goal of our faith. He saw the joy ahead of him, so he endured death on the cross and ignored the disgrace it brought him. Now he holds the honored position, the one next to God the Father, on the heavenly throne." So you and I, as believers, we're the ones that made Jesus have this joy that helped him to endure this cross so that he could endure it. So when you read that, or somebody reads that to you, and Jordan, for the joy set before him, which was rescuing you, he endured all that we know and most that we don't even understand. What does that do to you?
It's humbling to say the least initially, but it just makes me think that our faith is active, that Jesus embodied obedience to the point to where it's not passivity that's going to get us to the joy that's in front of us. It's going to take active obedience, and I liken it to running because I run so much. And
me too. I run all the time.
And so it's like, it's different stuff hurts while you run, right? Your feet, your knees, your hips, but there's always that finish line. And once you get to that finish line, you're like, man, it was worth it. And so it's just such a cool metaphor to use, that like you've got to actively do something knowing that there's a finish ahead. Mm-hmm. And I think anytime I hear that verse, I just think Jesus lays it out so perfectly for us.
Yeah. So 2 Corinthians 5, verse 21, famous passage about this exchange that took place on the cross. And it says that at the cross, Jesus was crucified and he took on all of our sins. And at the same time that he took on all our sins, he gave us all of the righteousness of God. Which I think of it, I'm like, okay, him finding a way for me to have salvation is one thing. To give me all the righteousness of God at the cross, when it says that he actually died while I was still a sinner, extremely humbling and hard for my brain to even comprehend. But when you read that, like, or you hear that, do you ever struggle with believing that you are the full righteousness of God?
It's it's a huge identity thing for me to try to wrap my mind around. And I think my finite human mind, I don't think I could ever wrap my brain around what that fully means, but it's just a complete transformation of identity. And I think that's where Satan tries to get us so much, is he tries to pull at us from all the stuff that happened back here. But what Jesus took care of on the cross, he completely transforms who we are. Like he said, that we are the righteousness of God now based off what Jesus did. And that's huge.
So how would you encourage someone listening, watching, who is just struggling to follow Jesus, living in shame or decisions they make or stuff they keep falling back into, and saying to themselves, I'm glad he died and all, but I just don't feel like I'm right with God, and I'm certainly not the righteousness of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think it's how the writer of Hebrews encourages those that he's writing to go through hardships, is to keep pressing forward, knowing that the one who went before us, Jesus, he endured all the same things. And that enduring hard things and being reminded of past is okay, and it's human nature, but knowing that if we make it through different trials and difficulties, the source and the perfecter of what is ahead is where we're going. And that's hugely encouraging.
That's why I think family or community is so key, because if I'm going to try to follow Jesus only on my own, I'm going to beat the tar out of myself along the way, or I'm going to become so amazing because I'm the only one speaking to my life, and pride takes over, and I'm going to become so amazing, and so I don't have people either on the negative side. If I'm living in shame and lies and struggling, they're not going to rally to me. And then on the over wrong positive side, like speaking wrong things about myself, I'm not going to have anybody going, hey Scott, you're a little too big for your britches right now. So community is huge.
Absolutely.
So I think the thought that comes to mind to end our weekly word today is looking back at that Hebrews 12:2 passage, for the joy set before him, which was him getting the two of us back, everybody watching what he made happen so that he could have us all back as sons and daughters in the family of God, that joy that's set before him. Does the life you live, how you're living your life, does it show the joy that Jesus went through? Like, that's a good question. Like, am I living in a way that makes that joy that he endured to get to the cross, does it make it valid? I don't have to bring validation for anything Jesus did. He stands on his own. But as a follower, I should live my life in a way that says that somebody can look at it and go, man, I can see why Jesus is happy to get you back. So I think the challenge is, as dads, as husbands, those out there that are wives, kids, whatever it is the way you're living your life, is it really showcasing what Jesus died for and who Jesus died for? So that's the challenge for us this week, to realize that you are the joy set before him, and be involved in community and have people speak into your life, encourage you, challenge you, come alongside you, and then you be that for them. Jordan, thanks for joining us today. Post-Easter week, continue to live forward for Jesus and reach people for Jesus, and be the one that is the best example and billboard for Jesus in how you live your life in your home, in your community, and at your job. Thanks for joining us.